Solin's not black.
My dong is hard, long and veiny. I'll shoot you in the face like I'm Dick Cheney.
I'm cool, not a fool, stay sweet like Kool-Aid. Kick your ass to the grass, then you need a band-aid. I'm the bomb with your mom, what you want to get laid. Then skeet to the Little Mermaid. Yeah, boy, roast beef, 2000.
What is this for?
Roast beef.
Y'all ready for this?
What? Now, just in case you haven't heard, we're the illest MCs to spit the word.
From my talk down to NYC, all the players in the pimps love TRB.
Don't mess with me, cause you know that I'm a badass mother like Aunt Jemima. I own the stage, don't act my age. On the list of best rappers on my top of the page.
Roast beefs, don't you know we're the head of the class? Bitch, give us a test, no doubt we'll pass.
Bitch, drink Cristal, smoke some grass.
Bitch, fuck with the beefs, we'll kick your ass.
Bitch, try to stop the beefs, but you can't fight us.
Bitch,
Crush your bones like you got arthritis.
Bitch.
I turn records gold like I'm King Midas.
Bitch.
My rhymes are sick like they got hepatitis.
Bitch,
Chiefs are back, go tell your mom. We were hiding like Saddam, but now we're here and still the bomb. The roast beef's got it going on. Roast beefs are back, go tell your mom. We were hiding like Saddam, but now we're here and still the bomb. The roast beef's got it going on.
Now, Mr. Armstrong, what's your deal? If I reached in your shorts, what would I feel? Like a bicycle with just one wheel. You got one ball, like Lucille.
Scarlett Johansson,
Carmen Electra,
Jessica Simpson, I wanna sex you.
come on over, start relaxing.
We'll have a sleepover like Michael Jackson.
shake your ass and get me harder. I'm the engine and you're the starter.
If you want it in the ass, girl, get some lube. Cause my dick is harder than a Rubik's Cube.
It's B.O.B. on the MIC. I'm the illest rapper you ever did see. But I'm just one of the three. No worldwide as TRB. Roast beefs are back, go tell your mom. We were hiding like Saddam, but now we're here and still the bomb. The roast beefs got it going on. Roast beefs are back, go tell your mom. We were hiding like Saddam, but now we're here and still the bomb. The roast beefs got it going on.
That's it, that's the song.
Media playouts where the streets are marsh. Backroom deals swept into the dark. The fattest wallets mean the heaviest bribes. Lining senators' jackets with reason to lie. The macho stands of proletariat tones. Democrats have their hidden thrones. Oligarchs swing their skeleton keys while the innocent starve in the land of the free. Whoa, 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 whoa. Buffets shown by broad country built on love. Fathers died for liberty, but for the price of liberty. Buffets shown by brides and countries built on love. Our fathers died for liberty, but for the price of liberty. Whoa, 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 whoa. We're not in control. Whoa, 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 whoa. We're not in control. Delia turned the middle class on the pole. Rocky sends the strongest sons off the wall. Hollywood balls bleach onto our eyes. Subdue the masses with terrorist guys. It's all you want, you gotta play to play. In this twisted game, voting then you break. Resources are prey, turn the whole world great. The common tragedy destroyed the commons today. Whoa, 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 whoa. Puppets shown by bright new countries built on life. Our fathers died for liberty, but for the price of liberty. Puppets shown by bright new countries built on life. Our fathers died for liberty, but for the price of liberty. Whoa, 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 whoa. We're not in control. Whoa, 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 whoa. We're not in control. They own the system, no compromise. 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 We're born out of hungry, the dreams were in our ears, and we bled through for promises year after year. But now we're angry and the Congress should fear. I'm not in control, but my vote is my fear. The fires are injured to platinum guns, but millions of arrows can blot up the sun. The fires are injured to platinum guns, millions of arrows can blot up the sun. Whoa, 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 whoa. We're not in control. Whoa, 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 whoa. We're not in control. Whoa, get back in line.
eyeballs, what did you see?
It couldn't have been me, sir. I was front row in my AOC t-shirt, foie gras sucking on a press release, sir. My head down, fourth shot, good little sheep, sir. Sit down, sweetie, the adults are gonna speak first. They trust the science and they're terrified of research. Here to thank our healthcare heroes, they've been feeding to the burnout, feet first. Until suddenly they dip mid-shift, take a header off a bridge. Such a shame, they were really such a sweet nurse. Now they'll never get the card and the cold slice of pizza meant to thank them for their teamwork. Now they'll never get the baggie full of checks mixed, which would be the one reward they'd see for the moms they had to intubate, and the countless cries of grief since we've been haunted by the specter of the C-word. Now all the applause for our healthcare heroes rings a very hollow note because we played it out like Freebird. See, add the ones and zeros in our fragile checks and balances, or checks for all the wealthy who have such unholy talents that we think it's patriotic that we all got zero balances. And re-elect Pelosi so she'll face our toughest challenges, which is analogous to water for a drowning man. Nancy disregards our impoverished with a spiteful and dismissive little waving of her withered hand. Cause 500,000 freezing on the streets is Biden's winter plan. And I bet you swore they told you were voting for a different man. But really all you wanted was a different man. It didn't make a fucking difference if he finishes the previous inhabitant's agenda and starts auctioning protected land. Biden's born to leap at any war a donor's check demands. Turns out that you can't cure greed once it infects a man. Once they lose respect for human life and focus all their fucking efforts on the oil baron rescue plan. Honey, what are we to Hecuba or Hecuba to us that if she's starving we should give a damn? Why should we be moved to tears if someone isn't eating? We won't even recognize that food is essential to our being. It's just us and motherfucking Israel who will not guarantee that food's a basic human right. Because starvation is our favorite tool of genocide disguised as sanctioned democratic healing. That's me in the corner, losing my religion, gouging out my eyes and then dancing on the ceiling. Jesus fucking Christ, what a feeling.
Hey, what about you eyeballs, what did you see?
In the immediate aftermath of 9/11, we did some things that were wrong. We did a whole lot of things that were right.
We've taken control of the oil in the Middle East, the oil that we're talking about.
Talking about the significance of the passage of time, right? The significance of the passage of time. So when you think about it, there is great significance to the passage of time in terms of what we need to do to lay these wires, what we need to do to create.
We choose truth over facts.
America is a nation that can be defined in a single word. The foothills of the Himalayas.
Television is what people are saying.
We are fighting Satan himself.
Journalists, ask them the question! Ask them! Ask them! Ask them!
Agreed that everybody once they inside they should... Anyway, my time's up. America's dead.
America is indeed dead. If it's not dead already, I don't know what it is.
So is Canada. Canada's dead as fuck.
It's all dead.
Every week is just some new degree of just bullshit where I'm just like, I don't know where I live anymore. I'm just gonna tell people I live in the net or something.
And I think that's part of the greater psyop, just to make us so freaking deluded to what's going on in the world that we're just like, what's real at this point?
Like,
yeah, I'm at the.
Sorry, I'm genuinely curious how people are going about their day-to-day lives, knowing that there's like hot fire in the Middle East going on right now. That's like literally driving us into a world war. I mean, people go about their day. And they're just
most people just going about their days. Like I don't know, man. Like I know me personally, I'm having a hard time waking up every day, kind of knowing that this stuff is going on. But at the same time, like this stuff's been going on for decades, and we're just more aware of it this time. But I don't know. I don't know how people just go about their day. I mean, it's like that's part of the thing, right? Just work for 40, 50 hours a week and forget that there's like a whole world outside of your paycheck.
Yeah, and then not have to do anything about it.
Don't think too hard about what's going on in the world. I just saw like right before we started this, I saw a like a TikTok video of a guy doing like just these DNC ops all over the place, just being like, hey, like, so what if Biden's a war criminal? It's better than Trump. Like that's really what we're getting now. So it's just wild. You know?
It's gonna get to the point where it's gonna get to the point where like they won't have any lesser evil anything other than like you should just vote for him because the other guy's mean. It's gonna get there where it's just like there's virtually no difference between any of these dipshits, but this guy has like a handler that lets him not say mean shit on the bird app.
It's just wild. Like how can there just be like all this stuff happening right now and liberals are like, well, you don't want that orange man in here. It's like, yo, there's airstrikes happening in Israel and occupied Palestine right now. What are you talking about? Like just people completely out to lunch. It's a weird thing to see people be so worried about something that's like a year and a half from now when everything is falling apart like right now. You know, like
everything weird. You know what's weird too? Like our shit in the West is so scuffed that like the orange man can run on like I will do more genocide stuff as a fucking campaign promise. He's like, I'll kill more babies if you vote for me, and they're like, yes, queen. Slay.
Oh yeah, you like Biden killing children, huh? Well, I'll double it.
I'll triple it. I'll throw those fuckers in a microwave.
Jeez.
Well, no, what they're telling you now, what they're saying now is, oh no, yeah, Joe is committing genocide, but hey, he's still better than the other guy. That's really
like that's really what it is now. It's so bad,
dude. That you guys saw that tweet from like a Vosh mod or something where it's like, yes, Biden's doing a genocide,
but you should vote for him.
You should still vote for him because Trump would do more genocider stuff.
See, like, and there's like that whole thing. God. People tend to kind of just take this whole streamer culture. People don't take the streamer culture too seriously because it's not mainstream media, but at the same time, Vosh gets more viewers than most MSNBC and CNN.
Most of them are kids,
easily.
Destiny does too. Destiny has, and most of them are kids. Exactly. Like I think, was I telling you that the other night, Himbo, where it's like Zoom, like they're just reaching out to the Zoomers, and the Zoomers, they're not even going to watch MSNBC and CNN. They're already going to be indoctrinated from these shitlib streamers. That they don't.
It's because they got the older people. They got the older people by the balls. I see it all over the place. So what they need to get is the younger generation, because if you see Gen Z, people can talk shit about Gen Z all day long, but I've never seen a generation that is more effective at just completely dismantling propaganda. I've seen some fucking TikToks where they just blow people out of the water with their weird McCarthyism takes. Oh my God, it's not even close.
There's definitely kind of an interesting thing happening there, because I saw a poll today where it was showing like the different age demographics of people who support whether it be Israel or Palestine, and everybody over 65, it's like 95% support Israel. And then all the way on the other end, like millennials and Zoomers, it's like almost 50-50. So there's definitely something to be said where you have these psyops like Vosh and Destiny and stuff trying to freaking change it so that the Zoomers are more likely to support Israel and bloodshed and all this stuff. So that by the time they're voting age and older, they're giving us millennials and Gen X is a hard time.
You know what, though? It's a brilliant... I got to hand it to the feds who entrap those two fuckers. It's a brilliant psyop. Think about it. Like, they play... If you look at their streams, they get you hooked with video games.
Oh,
right?
yeah.
They're playing video games. They're like, oh, look at this. And it's always the most popular game, whatever. It's, it's Elden Ring. It's fucking Lords of the Fallen. which the ending sucked, by the way. Don't play it.
So that's the
probably
bait,
my
huh?
most
The video
controversial
games are the
thing.
bait. It's like, oh, get them in with just the casual gaming, and then just like blackpill them on like the worst establishment shit ever.
Yeah, they get you in with the video games, and then they start spoon feeding you fucking lip slop, and you don't. I feel like a lot of these kids don't even notice the spoon feeding. And like we talked about earlier, though, it would be I want to do that, but in reverse. It's like
yeah, exactly. We were talking about a little bit that before the show. We just got so it seems like every single week there's just so much content to cover, so we got to actually get into it a little bit. But like, we're definitely making concerted effort to switch it up, so we're still covering like breaking news, but we definitely want to get into more of the discussion stuff. It's just, man, just more stuff keeps coming up.
Yeah, it's the plates have been spinning for sure.
It's just
You
so
guys
much
can,
chaos.
You guys can order some Hamas hummus today. It's actually really good. So wait, you guys think $4.99 is a fair price? Do you think $4.99 is fair?
I mean, how much is Sabra?
No, for what, like 1 liter of hummus?
That's pretty straight up. That's pretty straight up. But I doubt the blockade is gonna let us get some of that hummus anyway.
No, it's gotta be.
They're gonna sanction Hamas hummus. Okay.
It's awesome.
Yeah, anyway,
that's so funny, dude.
Branching off that discussion of this kind of like Biden like Zoomerish shit, but this is Biden from 2020.
The world has changed because what Trump has done. And the American people, including independents and some Republicans, know how bad he is, know how much he's misrepresented, know how he's getting close to getting us in a war. I said, as the walls close in on this man, I'm worried he's going to get us to war in Iran. Unfortunately, I may have been right. The fact of the matter is there's a lot at stake in this election. The world is...
I don't know how
you're talking about getting a war in Iran, and
you can't get any more. You really can't.
This is what confuses me. It's like, did they fucking think this through? Because at one point, if you're doing all the shit you're saying your opponent's going to do, you can't really do the lesser evilism on top of that, because people are going to be like, wait, he did all this. You have to vote for this guy because he won't do it. So does that mean he will do it? Like, you could predict just what the DNC is going to do next. Because you can just like listen for what like they're saying Trump will do, and then they're just gonna fucking do that and
do it anyway. Yeah,
yeah, that's what I mean.
But they do it with the kid gloves. They do it with the kid gloves. They don't do it with the mean words and the brutal.
It's all the
honesty.
same. The kids in cages, the border wall, the fucking.
It's all the same.
It's literally. It's almost like you have no choice. Wow, isn't that crazy?
But yeah, you still should vote for one of them. You should still vote for one of them because that's a patriotic thing to do. You're definitely a terrible person if you don't vote.
There's such a difference between these two candidates. You need to believe this. Despite them it's like it's good cop, bad cop, and people aren't fucking like realizing this. It's the good cop, bad cop routine from like every single movie. Except for that one with Will Ferrell where he like misunderstood.
I just assume at this point, especially with like the stuff going on with Gaza and West Bank and like all the stuff that Israel is pointing the finger at just seems to be a projection. I'm just going to assume the same thing with the Democratic Party now, that everything that they're doing is projection because that's what's happening. Oh, Biden's talking about Trump's going to take us to war in Iran. And then we're like weeks away from being in a war with Iran.
Listen, AOC, Rashida Tlaib, all the people who stormed the Capitol, who were a part, all the squad members that were a part of that, have not unendorsed Joe Biden. They still endorse Joe Biden for 2024. So take that for what you.
Because Orange Man
bad, and it's like I don't understand how people can't just like wake up in the morning. I just wish people would like wake up in the morning and be like, is today worse than what it was 4 years ago or better than what it was 4 years ago? Yeah. And no one needs to actually like do like a dick measuring contest against Biden and Trump. They're both terrible human beings. But just about every single metric, things were better under Trump. Like that's not and he started and COVID started under him.
It just people don't get it. My buddy Shane actually said it perfectly, and it applies up here in Canada because we were talking about politics. He's like, yeah, it's a never-ending cycle. We vote for the Liberals because the Conservatives aren't working, and then the Conservatives, we vote for Conservatives after the Liberals aren't working, and shit just keeps getting worse. That's it. It's just been a downward free fall.
That's part of why I mean that's the war with Iran, because I know they think they know Trump is cool with it. Like that's the one war you can get Trump on is war with Iran if Israel's involved. So
I mean, that's the thing, right? Is like if Israel is involved, then the entire freaking establishment is involved. That's it.
They had the entire Congress sign that thing to condemn Hamas.
Yeah, when it was like what? I think even Rand Paul fucking voted for it.
Rand Paul to Bernie Sanders. They all voted for it. Your Congress is literally infected with AIPAC and the Israel lobby.
It really feels like everybody should register as a foreign agent.
It's disgusting. It's really gross.
Honestly, at this point, if people haven't woken up to just how many, this was the ultimate mask off moment. Everybody should be paying attention. It's like, wait, everybody fell in line in perfect lockstep over here, regardless of this wide spectrum. Everybody is just completely just towing the line completely, and y'all are still pretending like there's any kind of opposition.
And I mean, the thing is, with Israel, the duopoly has really been aligned with Israel since its inception, really. But we always have freaking amnesia and forget how aligned the two parties are when it comes to the Middle East.
Yeah,
it's crazy, but
remember
to be fair,
they told us they said that this vote was existential. To vote for this fucking fat sweaty loser.
That's what he loser.
I don't even know if it's him or a freaking body double half the time anymore.
In all fairness, Fetterman, I'm sure he was just trying to get the event so he can go home, bang on some Grateful Dead, light a fatty to some dead.
He looks stinky. He looks real stinky.
Look at his face.
Stinky man.
Humanitarian ceasefire. I'm with the senator's team.
He's asking his senator for a ceasefire. That's it.
Yeah, that's it.
I can talk to. No, I can talk to. I voted for him. I'm sorry, this is a democracy. It absolutely is. Yeah, but kind of, sort of. Why? 10,000 people in Gaza have been killed. Half are children. The Pope's calling for a ceasefire. The UN has called for it. I'm just asking you. You're a good guy. I voted for you. I know you're a nice guy. This is important. You need to leave. Here, can I give you a phone?
Oh, time to go. Time to go. Asking the wrong questions. Know your place, Steve.
He just assaulted him. He just assaulted him.
You need to leave.
He just assaulted him. He just assaulted him. He was just talking to him. He's assaulted him.
I don't even think that was a handler. I think it was just a guy.
Party. That's the demo.
Okay, first off, Fetterman had no idea what that man said. Let's all just get that out of the way.
Has he ever had a thought before?
That is the Windows 2000 era BSOD, as the kids call it.
His System 32 is gone. It's absolutely
Fetterman.exe has performed an illegal operation and must be shut down.
I'm of the belief that his trip to that extended stay in the hospital was an MK Ultra thing, but we'll see.
He couldn't speak. Yeah,
he couldn't speak. He was wearing freaking sweatpants and a hoodie every day. Guy was getting special treatment. No, the guy was his brain was scrubbed hard with freaking steel wool.
No, they use Soul Killer on his ass. I'm gonna die on that hill.
The Matrix.
Yeah, that's the Men in Black.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They're just you know what? You're more useful to us if you don't speak. So just stand there and stare at a random object in the room and just let us do the rest.
When did Fetterman get elected? He's not. I don't think he's up in 2024. Probably in 2026, huh? Because Senate is 6 years, right? I know I shouldn't be asking him about this. He wouldn't know. But I think when did Fetterman get elected? Like 2-3 years ago? I can't believe people are going to vote for him again, but you know what will happen.
Yeah, sorry. Up here, the only purpose of our government is just to clap for SS people. So that's just about it.
So do you want to get into Dow a little bit?
Let's do
I can get into Dow a little bit. Or what? What do you want to do? You can do whatever. What do you want to get into? What was on our list?
First.
Okay, we can do the protest first.
Jewish Voice for Peace, which is they're an international organization, but in New York, I heard of this. It was an emergency action, so it was very last minute. But they had Jewish Voice for Peace. These are Jewish protesters storming Grand Station, completely flooding it, making it inoperable, with several arrests. And thanks Keaton for posting the film. He had a clip. He had a video clipped together of all these.
That's a massive crowd. How many thousands of people did they say were there?
Yeah, this is they flooded the entire station. This is just a compilation of videos from.
Yeah. And it's a Jewish organized. That's crazy.
Look at that! Look at that red-brown alliance, man.
Look at all those self-hating Jews protesting against mass murder.
Look at all those anti-vax. Sorry, wrong thing. Oops. Shit.
So let's watch a little bit of this here.
Damn.
Look at that.
You can't get a permit for this. This is not.
Yeah, it's in Grand Central. I'm assuming you can't exactly get a permit for that.
No. That's so base.
Go around to the left. This entrance is now closed.
I'm an American Jew, and I can't stand to see genocide committed in our name. And I feel strongly that, and the world feels strongly that what's happening in Palestine is unjust. Just because historically our people have experienced harm does not give us the right to perpetuate that same harm on others.
Do you think that there are many Jewish people in the United States and also in Israel who feel the way that you do?
I do. I think that unfortunately our voices are smaller and we are not given the same platform as Zionist Jews. And so that's why it's incredibly important that we're here today and show up and show the world that not all Jews feel like Zionists do, and that we believe in humanity, and that everyone has access to live safely and with liberation.
What do you make of the Democratic Party and the role that the United States ruling class?
I'm horrified. I mean,
why does he sound like Kyle Clinton? Did you hear that?
Yeah.
I'm horrified. I mean, they're just, wolf in sheep's clothing. This Biden is no better than Bush. In fact, I think he's worse. So if that was possible, and the fact that these are the choices that we have, I think that there's something seriously wrong with what's going on in governance. Even this new Speaker of the House, the first thing he said was
We need to support Israel when the whole country is, most people are against this war, against this genocide.
Why are you here?
For many reasons. One, that there's an impending genocide. Two, that the United States is backing that, and is an important player to make sure if anything changes, we have to change what happens here in the United States to end backing for a Zionist regime that's based on apartheid. I'm also in the United States right now, but I'm from South Africa, so I know what apartheid is like. And for those people that think that it's not, the only reason I would agree with you is because this is actually worse than Palestine. I mean, worse than apartheid, what's happening right now. And so for any person of conscience, I feel needs to be out and protesting and demonstrating against the ongoing genocide.
They're warning them, they're about to get arrested.
Yep.
Yeah, they are. They're all funny. That's to get arrested. Lining up to get arrested. I think it was like 200 people they arrested.
So, like, I don't understand. Like, how do these cops are like, hey, good to see you, wife. Oh, what did I do today? Oh, I arrested a bunch of protesters. Aren't I awesome?
They're arresting other
Well, obviously, the problem is that's the power of propaganda.
It's crazy. I can't believe, like, I don't know, like, who gets roped into being a cop and they're like, man, I really saw myself doing this when I freaking became a cop, was just arresting people who are standing up for using the First Amendment. It's crazy to me.
Yeah, well, I mean, I always, like, I had a similar...
What's that?
Like, out of all of the propaganda and all the Ukraine propaganda and shit that was, like, going on, like, I'm just glad that at least, like, people are smart enough to stand up against, like, a literal genocide happening before their eyes. Turkey.
This is crazy.
That's an insane amount of people, dude.
1.5 million
shit.
people. Yeah. Yeah. It was, I mean, some people were saying that it was also kind of a...
Didn't they declare war on Israel? Or they're trying to?
I don't know all the details about that, but I mean, people were saying that this protest could have also been kind of like an Erdogan rally. So it kind of goes both ways. But like the thing is that, like, there's a lot more people in the global South than there are in like the Western NATO powers. So it stands to reason that something like this would happen. Like, you know, especially I think we talked about it kind of last week with like the advent of so much social media and so much access to this stuff. I don't know. It stands to reason that like all these countries would be galvanizing around this and it kind of shows how many more people are in support of this. And it's kind of like that that fucking meme with from Peep Show where he's wearing the freaking SS outfit and he's saying like, "Oh, are we the baddies?" You know, it's like
that's kind of evolved to the point where most of us now are just like, "Fuck, we're totally the baddies."
We're totally the baddies. Fucking happened. But yeah, this is
I
crazy.
I don't know how you can go about your day. Like, I really don't know how people are going about their day, their average normal day, like Halloween. No, there's a genocide happening literally like on the internet, just live, everyone to see. And this is like the first time in history that we can like actively view. Like, imagine like we had smartphones during the Holocaust. It's the same. It's insane.
Mm-hmm.
So the level of purposeful ignorance, like blissful ignorance that you have to have in order to just go back. I really don't. For me personally, I just don't understand it. Maybe I'm too plugged into this shit. Like, maybe I care too much.
I think, dude, you should play the Vivek clip because I think it speaks to kind of this issue.
Yeah.
Okay.
Just because it's so fucking unhinged and people aren't seeing that. It's like, yo, we're the Nazis, guys. Like, this is just insane.
This is fucked. Oh my god.
30 seconds.
Put the heads of 100 Hamas leaders on stakes and line them up on the Israel-Gaza border as a sign that October 7, 2023 will never happen again, and then to use all of those saved resources to build the border defenses of the future. But that is Israel's decision to make, not ours. That is what David Ben-Gurion would tell Israel to do. That is what George Washington would tell the United States to do.
Put heads on pikes.
George Washington told us not to get war.
Yeah, and to be fair, I'm not sure if the people who are responsible for exterminating the indigenous people of America are the best freaking. Like,
also, they didn't even know what the fuck Israel was. Also, like, can we just say, like, you guys think Operation Paperclip ended?
No. And if anything, all the shit that happened in Canada like a month ago just further kind of like makes it how obvious that it's still going.
It's here. Like we're like 2 degrees away from literally the Joe Biden starts citing Mein Kampf and starts like doing the. I swear to God, like that's like really.
I wonder
how close we are.
What's gonna happen?
I mean, at this point, if Trudeau did that tomorrow, I'm pretty sure everybody up here would be like, yeah, all right, yeah, that tracks.
Canada
perfectly.
Maybe I really do think that that's like one of the reasons they freaking don't give us the 4-day work week. Like, make sure that we're freaking busy all the time. Make sure we're broke all the time. Like, funnel all the money into the military industrial complex. So we're so preoccupied all the time with trying to survive that we don't have time to think about how all these freaking oligarchs and bloodthirsty beltway bandits are just profiting and off of like war and suffering. I mean, what are people going to do when half of Gaza or all of Gaza is gone, and it's like, oh yeah, 2 million people are either freaking refugees or dead? Like, what do you have to say about that? Oh, I got work in 15 minutes. Don't worry about it.
There's gonna be a new current thing anyway. There's always a new current thing for everybody to latch onto, and by the time the damage is done, they're already on to a new current thing. Look at COVID. COVID's a perfect example. By the time
they did drop COVID, they did drop Ukraine pretty quick. That seems like I think Zelensky's seeing the writing on the walls with that one. He's like, oh shit, I'm not getting any more money.
Oh man, I gotta get a job. I haven't been to an audition in years. Like,
hey, but he canceled the election, so he's already secure in that regard until freaking the CIA starts another color revolution and gets him out of there because they're tired of his shenanigans.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, I don't know how people aren't putting it together and how people aren't seeing the like. It's the thing that we asked is like when during COVID and during the Ukraine war. Hey, if you wondered how like the Nazis, like how there were Nazis during World War II, now you know. And
yeah, exactly.
Like, what can you do?
And there's so many people. Like, imagine if back in like 1940s Germany, people were like, yeah, both sides. Like, you know what? Like, we gotta. Yeah, you know what? Like, there's, they're both bad. There's this one Jewish guy that did bad shit. Therefore, it's the same. Like, it's so goofy how soup-headed everyone fucking is over this. It's the easiest issue to pick the correct side. It's the easiest one in the world.
It really is that simple, but man, they really did a number on breaking people's brains with freaking Trump. Like, just stroke of genius from whoever was freaking making like Russiagate so bad that like people just have completely broken brains in 2023. Like, really, we're having to freaking split hairs over genocide like that? Like, if that's not the bar, where's the bar? If that's not the bar.
Welcome to the West, where there's where we need nuance for anything that's fascist, but we need tons of nuance for anything that's fascist, but anything that might be, I don't know, the opposite of fascist, I'll let you guys figure that one out. Oh, no nuance. It's evil. It's the worst thing in the world. There's no examples of it working. Yeah, I want off this ride. It sucks. It's like that one ride at the amusement park where they didn't do any fucking work on it for like 20 goddamn years. They got a rickety ass Like, it's still like a wooden like roller coaster. It kind of bumps up and down. You're afraid for your life. That's the ride we're on here in the West.
So
I want the fuck off.
So is the accelerationist take to be like, yes, we want war in the Middle East because then like the U.S. will freaking be destroyed in the process. I don't know.
I've said this multiple times, but if we can all work our asses off and like help people actually achieve class solidarity, the U.S. is about to be spread so thin that they would be unbelievably vulnerable to a revolution. That's
kind of
that's
coming
what I
either way.
think.
Yeah, no, that's
all
how the
all the
majority
feds
of
watching it. I'm just kidding. I mean, in a Minecraft game.
Yeah.
I mean, that's why they keep trying to take our guns. I know that's why they keep trying to take our guns. It's because they don't want us to freaking use them against the state. So,
But I mean, to be fair, nobody ever wrote a book on like imperialism and its exploitative nature, so you can't really.
It's not like people were writing about this stuff over 100 years ago or anything, like, or even like with Marx, freaking 150 years ago.
Fuck, man! Every single week on the news, I'm like, "There's no way that motherfucker predicted this," and then I go read some shit, and I'm like, "What? Oh no, guys! He left us a whole "Don't do this" manual, and nobody fucking
nobody listened.
Nobody listened. They're like, no, that guy was wrong. That guy was wrong. We'll just be like,
nobody cared. That was
dude. The second we're able to like resurrect people, I want to bring Marx back and just be like,
he'd be like, "Where's the socialism? Where's the socialism?" Nope.
He's like, nope. Are you fucking kidding me? You did everything I said not to do? All of it? You read Capital and you're like, I am going to pull a reverse Uno? This is where we're at in 2023. It's been like 200 years, and you're like,
you guys
we're
need
just
to
gonna
on
the
genocide?
walls.
Yeah.
We're really right at fascism? You guys got all the way there? Again?
Your president honored a Nazi? What? There's still no revolution.
He'd be like, "Yo, put me back in the hole. Put me back in my hole. Put me back in my hole. I'm over it.
Just kill me again. I'm done. You guys are fucked. I should have just made kids coloring books of this fucking shit.
It's over. I want to get your guys' opinion on this, because like this is like more anti-Semite bait fuel. But just yesterday we had a bunch of Muslims in Russia, Dagestan, charge at a Jewish. It was an airplane coming from Tel Aviv. I don't know what they planned on doing or what this was about, but I don't think there wasn't any injuries or anything. So I mean.
Пассажира больше нету, клянусь вам, чем по кайфу говорю. Я что, не мусульман, я не боюсь. Да, я вам честно говорю. А где они? Куда, в какую сторону ушли? Я не могу сказать, я просто не знаю, брат. Давно? Байрадар зайдите, Байрадар, там будет написано когда. Ну, примерно сейчас, полтора.
Crazy.
Эй, блядь, пидорас, блядь, открой дверь!
He just rip open that locked door like nothing.
Yeah.
He's like.
No, I just want your.
I'm sorry. How? Okay. No, go
like-
ahead. I was about to.
Well, I mean, I don't honestly, I don't know what to think. So, like, my first thought is really like, hey, maybe don't kill a bunch of children and then cry victim, maybe then you won't, get like harassed like this. But I mean, I'm just saying,
Guys,
I don't think this is like the best thing to do, probably. But I don't know what's your I'm curious about your opinion. I'm genuinely.
We were all conscious in.
This is obviously a mob. It's obviously a mob. Yes, it's a mob.
We were all conscious in 2003. It's the same play. All of this. It's the same fucking play. It's 50 shades of, look at these animals. That's why we have to treat them like animals. That's my take on it, at least.
Right.
Fuck. Like,
so you're
I
saying,
remember
like,
these exact
the
same. We just didn't have this level of technology. But do you remember those memes they shared around where it's like, I remember that one meme where it has the same angry Muslim guy and he's like in 50 different pictures that they're sharing around, and it was like, behead all those who do not say Islam is peaceful, and all these other ridiculous quotes. And it's like, yeah, I get it. Those but
it was this is like the Islamophobia was like really ramped up like during right after 9/11. But this is all Muslim. I mean, I'm assuming this is like
it is. It's a
Muslim population, and I mean, the impression that I get is that it's a mob. I don't know how they got freaking organized and got everybody there so quick, but it appears. I mean, it could have been something that was on freaking the V Contact, whatever the freaking social media platform is in Russia. They were like, "Yo, let's go to Dagestan and get this freaking." And it just kind of metastasized. That's what it kind of seems like to me. Like there's just even Russia has been very tepid in their response to what's happening in Gaza. And what I see with this mob is a reaction to Putin's indecisiveness. Yeah. Okay. Just his lack of action. That's how I see it. People are now literally like pulling their hair out in these countries where they're like, we're expecting us to do the bare minimum and protect people who are under genocide, and then people are feeling helpless and reacting in strange ways. That's kind of how I see it. Is that
I mean, that's totally possible. I just what's like the exposure for that video? Like, how much traction has it gotten so far?
I don't know. I think it was pretty. It was like
it made the rounds. It made the rounds today. I mean, yesterday.
But I mean, wasn't even in mainstream media.
Yeah,
part of me.
The mainstream media is using this as a way to say, like, look at all the growing anti-Semitism.
Yeah, look at all the anti-Semitism, of course. Yeah, exactly.
Look at all the like definitely not people being not okay with the genocide that we're seeing. We gotta label it as a bad thing.
I mean, like, I don't know. Like, maybe they just have in their heads. I can't imagine what they're brought up with in these different cultures. Especially in this place, Dagestan. I don't know if it's like, I'm assuming it's a mostly Muslim population, and maybe there's stuff that they're getting fed. Maybe they're coming really hard on the like settler colonialist take, and they're like, these people are all thieves. Fuck them all. Sort of thing. I don't know, so who knows what they're being exposed to. I think that probably plays a role in why they galvanized an airport, though. It's just wild to me that, like, what did they think was going to happen? They're just freaking out.
So Putin actually conscripted like 85 of them to go fight on the Ukrainian front, which was really funny. I thought. So 85 of them were found. So there was 500 of them, and 85 were found eligible to be to fight on the Ukrainian front, and they were conscripted. That was their punishment.
Damn! So that was the punishment, huh?
Badass for that,
dude. Yeah, but on the flip side, could you imagine if we got fucking sent to fucking Ukraine or sent to fucking Gaza?
No, hell no. That's
like that'd be awful. Again, like we're the baddies.
I'm not like Jackson Hinkle, where I'm gonna go to Moscow and go fire a cannon. Fuck no, I'm not getting anywhere near that shit. I'm not getting in, I'm not putting myself into near danger for no reason. There's no the fight comes when I'm fighting against the cops or
the U.S. government. Yeah,
the U.S. government
when it's a civil war.
Yeah, that's when that happens.
Yeah, I'm sorry.
I'm not
I'm
gonna go
perfectly.
kill someone, like go kill a Ukrainian for fucking. Like, I'm not gonna do that. I'm not doing that.
Listen. I'm perfectly happy to die with an AK in my hand, but it's not going to be on behalf of the bourgeoisie. It's going to be fighting them.
Oh yeah.
Sorry.
Mm-hmm.
Sorry. If you're giving me a choice between going to die for your fucking stupid bullshit or go die trying to liberate the proletariat, that's the easiest call on fucking earth. I don't care if my revolution's 4 fucking people and a hamster. I'll gladly choose that over going to, I'm not. I would show up and be like, I'm not. You know what? Like, what if the strategy is everybody accepts a draft and then they just roll over and just let everybody win?
They're like, we've been waiting for you. Liberate us.
So we all take the. Okay, so that's the plan. So when World War III comes, don't dodge the draft. Instead, join the military. But then once you join, surrender.
Malicious compliance.
Just run right over to the other side and be like.
It's like the fucking. It's like what Russia put out.
Over a different country, they'll take you in.
Well, it's like what Russia put out over the last couple of months since the summer in Ukraine. They put out the radio calling, the 140 or FM or whatever it is.
Ukraine's doing it.
They're like, just surrender and we'll liberate you.
Just
give you food.
Just do what Ukraine's doing. Just forget it. Just surrender immediately, and that's it. I mean, honestly, I don't know. My opinion on the whole. Bottom line on the whole, storming the Russian airport thing, is I don't think 500 Arabs went to go attack Jews just because they hate Jews. One day.
Yeah, that seems like
that's not what happened. Let's be honest. There's a genocide going on. Let's be realistic about why they're actually pissed off. Can we be rational?
There's obviously more steps than just them just hating Jews.
I'm not subscribing.
Caitlin Johnstone called it out perfectly. She was basically like, it's not okay to be I'm paraphrasing. Sorry, Caitlin, if you watch this. She basically just said it's not okay to be an adult and think there are bad guys who do bad things just because they're bad guys. Something like that. But it's so correct. This is not okay. It's not okay to just think there's just cartoon villains in the world and they do evil because they like doing evil.
Mm-hmm.
Well, aside from a whole class that does that, but that's another topic.
But that's what I hear.
Well, yeah, and I think that's part of the thing, right? Try and make everything really black and white in that regard, so it's easy for the brain dead people to just be like, oh, that's the bad guy I'm supposed to not like.
Yeah.
Oh, that guy has a name that sounds like Russian. I guess I'm just supposed to be predisposed to not like it. Or so, keep it as surface level as possible. That's why our history knowledge is so bad. Because if people had a grasp on history, this stuff would we would not be having these crazy, absurd discourses about, who was there first or who has the right to land and why this obviously didn't start in October or the Ukraine war didn't start last February sort of thing.
I still have a relative who thinks America won the Battle of Berlin. And when I show him the picture of the Battle of Berlin and ask him to describe what the flag that is being shown in that picture looks like, he says, well, I guess they helped a little.
What?
Marshal Zhukov would like a word for one.
So wait, yeah, how many Russians died during World War II? It was 26 million. How many Americans died during World War II? Some less than 500,000. It's a dramatic difference.
Dude, it's really funny when you try and point out the reality that the people who beat the Nazis were the fucking commies. People are not okay. I've said this to people who are propagandized, and it's just this blank, Apple rainbow loading shit for a minute, where it's
how did that? No, there's no way.
People don't want to they don't want to accept that reality because people I forgot what the psychological thing is, but it's something about
dissonance.
Well, it's also, I guess, Yeah, it is. It is like a form of cognitive dissonance where they have to like believe a certain sense of
So
the world.
there's this thing called the backfire effect, that when you show people information that's contrary to their view, it actually reinforces their bad opinion or their bad take, because they just refuse to believe. Like, I mean, I come across this all the time. Be like, oh, look at this source, look at this source, look at this source. Oh no, that's just, I don't like your source, or I don't like the words that they use, or that just proves my point even more. Like in some whatever, like
Everything you're talking about, I just think of the COVID era, because that shit, oh my god, it was just everywhere.
Such a huge mask off moment. But I feel like the whole shit in Gaza is even a more mask off moment. Like, I never thought
a mask on moment.
Yeah, mask on moment. Never in a million years did I thought people were going to freaking try and establish nuance to the genocide question.
Dude, I had Canadians that I knew personally who were trying to apply nuance to the fucking Parliament thing, for Christ's sake. They're like, no, he's just an SS.
Yeah, he's 95 years old. Who cares? He hasn't done that stuff in decades. He's a great. His neighbors love him.
I don't care that he was a murderer. I care if he's a murderer now.
Well, but to be fair, I think didn't Putin put him on, like, put out an arrest for him? Putin wants to drag Yaroslav Samka to court, as far as I know. I think he put him on the list.
There was like international calls for his arrest after that happened.
Good.
He was
good.
Like Canada.
What happened? What happened to?
How did he get to chill in Canada for free? I don't know.
Well, when there was like a Max Blumenthal put out a 60 minutes, like an old 60 minutes video on how the Nazis had been led into Canada after World War II, and there was like something like 1,800, 2,000 Nazis just living in Canada. And people were going through trying to freaking find these guys and drag their asses to freaking court. And so it's like, there should be justice. Like, we should be freaking like setting an example and being like, yo, genocide and Nazism is bad. And that's the bar. And instead, like, here we are 60 years, 70 years later. And it's like, well, you know, like, that was such a long time ago. Like, let's forget.
Yeah, that's what it is. Yeah. That's basically
you know what? I wouldn't even be surprised if at some point someone was like, okay, so he's a Nazi, but at least he wasn't a communist. Like,
the people are like that. People are like that.
I know.
Like that. People are literally
actually, isn't most of I would even argue that most people in the US, I mean, maybe I'm just too terminal. People just have like the worst takes ever, but I feel like the vibe in our country and a lot of Western countries is absolutely, if they're not overtly saying it, then the intention, the implication is that, yeah, fascism is better than communism all day, like every day. Duh.
Yeah, of course. We saw that, or they're so soup-headed that they just like they're the same. Like, you're seeing fascism.
Oh yeah, like the freaking horseshoe theory idiots. Like,
yeah,
I saw a stupid freaking meme the other day where somebody was showing how like the different flags from like Palestine, Israel, Ukraine, and Russia, and showing how like it loops around in the horseshoe theory. And it's like, get the fuck out of here, you idiots! There's like a right way and there's a wrong way to look at these things, and there's no like horseshoe connecting them. It's like, really what you're demonstrating is that like the right and the left are the same, and then there's this whole area of thought that exists outside of the right-left paradigm that people just try and like squeeze in to kind of explain why their bad takes make sense. I don't know. It doesn't make sense to me.
The horseshoe theory, I've always felt like horseshoe theory was like, obviously this was an op at some point.
Obviously not.
But I feel like that's always been a case of like, okay, we need some panic button to press if like the working class ever starts to realize that these false like dynamics are just bullshit, and they start actually organizing based on class. I feel like that's all that horseshoe theory has ever fucking been. It just like, oh wait,
right?
No, say horseshoe theory.
Yeah, because partisans are so fucking scared of being called the opposite party that they're like, oh, both parties are the same. They like freak the hell out.
I know. I know. And the hilarious thing is like existing to the left of like the whole dynamic is such a strange phenomenon because you get called all sorts of shit. You get called a fascist.
Yeah, you get called a conservative, you get called a fascist, you get called an anti-Semite, you get called like everything. Everything is like, I don't know.
Like, do you know how often I get called a Marxist, guys? It is
well, what you I mean,
speaking of another propagandist, we had Peter Dow.
Peter Doe.
Fortunately, had to check out of the. How long did this last? Well, like
Wait, hold on. Sorry. I just got that. Sorry, this is Squirrel Brain. Bear with me here. Why did he quote the word health? Why did he put that under quotes?
Because I don't.
That is an interesting.
Hold
on, that is an interesting point out. Why did he put that under? Why did he put that under?
Because I think maybe he's quoting because he's making a reference to.
Oh, okay.
Cornel West.
Okay, so like, the concern was about his health in the initial Cornel West campaign launch, and then people were concerned. They said, thank you, I'm actually in good health, and I left his campaign because of my health issues, and his health issues is PTSD from my childhood and the bombardment in Beirut. Seeing children torn apart by bombs is soul crushing.
And this guy was trained by IDF. I think we talked about that last week. Like this guy, like he
literally participated in a lot. He says that he wasn't in a Shabra and Shatila.
Well, I identify with anarchists. Oh, fuck you. No.
I can't believe anything this guy says anymore. I just can't.
We don't claim your ass, bitch. We do not claim your ass. I'll be the first one to say that.
It's funny. I was actually looking at a guy. I was listening to an anti-fascist a few days ago, and he was talking about how the whole anarchist vibe that you see in like anti-fascist movements is like completely like co-opted liberal bullshit that just has like the anarchist kind of like aesthetic, I guess, to it. But they're not anarchists. They're just liberals that are vibing out to whatever's going on in the moment and acting out in violent and destructive ways, but they're not really anarchists. And
they're anarchists until Orange Man gets out of office.
Yeah, exactly. It's just it's fucking insulting. But no, like I didn't even read that part that he said he identifies with anarchism. No, you don't, man. You fucking stand for Hillary. Get the fuck out of here.
Shut the fuck up, bro. You can't just sit there working on like the Hillary campaign and give us this shit. Like, my God.
I condemn all
this is just like he's just bullshitting, just a confused man, not even or just bad actor. After being with, let's see, he did Kerry, he did Clinton, like he's been in like within arm's reach of the biggest shit libs in our country for years. So it doesn't surprise me that he has like these kind of insane.
Has he ever actually had a successful candidate? Has he ever like worked on a campaign that actually like went anywhere?
Well, no, and that's kind of the funny thing. That's kind of like that's why I wanted to kind of show the difference between Marianne and Cornel West was because it's literally I don't know how people look at Dow and see him as
hold up.
It really was like within a month of each other that like he was in Marianne Williamson's for a month and then he did the same shit. Look, it's the same shit. Oh, like I don't feel well. Like, stop.
Okay, first off, I'm sorry. Like, how fucking privileged do you have to be like, yeah, I had some personal shit happen, therefore I can't work anymore. My dude, who are you playing this to? I've had to work through tragedies. I worked through COVID. I worked through deaths in the family. On what planet do you live where it's like, yeah, I had a thing that made my fifis hurt, and so I gotta quit the whole campaign I've been working on.
It's such obvious bullshit because he's a really good example of somebody who's like either I don't know if I want to say like I don't know his level of intelligence, but clearly he doesn't know how to do his job, and he because of like Hillary and Kerry, he was ascended into being looked at as somebody who knew what he was doing as a campaign manager. Clearly has no fucking idea what he's doing.
He has no idea.
But turned it into a way for him to make money. Like, I mean, if you want, you can pull up the.
Do we have the FTC receipts yet? I think we have to wait.
Yeah, it's at the top of the second. It's at the top of the second page, where I can put it up.
I'll probably post it on tomorrow. By the way, Big Mad Crab is back, baby. We got the account restored. I sent a random appeal and got back. So I'll hook that up a little bit at the end.
But
nice.
The thing I wanted to demonstrate with Marion, with the two campaigns, is they were both. It's not like Dow was doing something completely different with Cornel West. He literally did the exact same thing. He was with Marianne Williamson for just over a month and then bailed and said it was because he was sick. And then he did Cornel West campaign, said he wasn't feeling well, and then bailed. Now there was no campaign data for the Cornel West campaign yet, which is strange because I was able to pull up a bunch of stuff and didn't see Peter Dow's name. But I can show. Let me show this really quick.
That's totally normal. This is all.
But just to give you guys an idea of how much money Dow makes. Now I'm not going to say he's like a freaking 1% or like freaking ultra bourgeoisie, but he was making money. So if we just
how much did he make in that 6 weeks?
So let's see. Can you see it that well? Maybe I need to make it a little bit bigger. So look. So from April 27th was his first paycheck through May 30th. So we'll just round it to a month. So taking out the anomalies. There were some that were like reimbursements. So we'll take those out. But he made about $9,000 in just over a month. Okay, in Marianne Williamson's campaign.
Imagine making that money.
$9,000.
No one makes that money. $9,000 in a month.
So
he has like
like
expenditures and like.
No. So that doesn't actually include. So this $9,000 doesn't include the doesn't even include the.
Oh yeah, because it's
you see where it says reimbursement, travel, lodging, reimbursement, lodging. I didn't include those. So it's about $9,000 that he made between April 27th and May 30th. So if we're saying that he did about the same amount of work or charged the same amount of rate for Cornel West, he made almost $20,000 for like torpedoing Cornell's campaign and bailing on Marianne Williamson's campaign.
Bailing on both. He tanked them both. Wait, hold on. So,
I mean,
Marianne Williamson. I mean, that was not a serious campaign. That was more unserious than Cornel West.
The thing is, like, if anyone's not aware of this, I would implore you to look up Occam's razor, which is essentially the concept that the most simple explanation is usually the correct one. And it's like, okay, this guy shows up, campaign goes right in the toilet, he leaves, shows up, another campaign goes right in the toilet. I don't think he doesn't know what he's doing. I think he knows exactly what he's doing, and he's just a fucking wrecker.
Yeah, he's the definition of a grifter. He's the definition of a grifter. Like that's grifting. Literally a grifter. He's doing it for the money.
I show up, I get that bag, and then I take a dump in your mouth, and then I leave. And then I repeat it again. And that's my whole purpose to life.
Do you remember they said at the time, like, oh no, that's the amount that campaign managers make. They just make $9,000 in a month. That's just a normal rate that you just have to start.
I mean, to be fair, if you're
manager, Jill Stein didn't have a campaign. What the fuck?
She didn't have a campaign manager? I didn't know that.
No,
but it's not for the amount of money that you need to run these campaigns and actually get into like a top 3, top 4 seat. Yeah, it takes like tens of millions, if not hundreds of millions of dollars to run these campaigns. So, it stands to reason if somebody's trying to run an effective campaign, I could see them making $250,000 a year. Like I could see that. That's not crazy for me. For somebody who's maybe running, I don't know how much was it Dust who ran Bernie's campaign? I don't know how much money he got, but like it's not. I would assume that a campaign manager worth their salt probably should be making between $150,000 and $250,000 to run in a campaign for a year. So, him making $9,000 in a month, like, doesn't sound too outrageous to me, just except for the fact that he was going in there not planning on winning, going in there not planning on trying to like raise awareness or create any sort of messaging for these campaigns to get behind. He went in there to make a quick buck and then be like, oh, I don't feel well, I gotta leave.
Yeah, everything immediately got worse. I'm surprised he didn't like pull the COVID thing. Or just like, yeah, sorry, I got to leave the campaign because I have COVID. Anyway, bye.
So I'll let you continue. I saw this question here. I don't particularly care about Peter that much. I just think that he's representative of people tend to galvanize behind Dow pretty hardcore when he went from Marianne to Cornell West. And we were all calling out that he was just a DNC op, that he was just trying to shepherd people and he was going to tank this and eventually be like, oh, you got to support Biden. And, you know, all I wanted to do with this little piece here was just show that this guy, he's not a genuine person. He's just a freaking grifter, like the definition of a grifter.
Well, you know, this wouldn't be a problem. This wouldn't have been a problem if, like, he just announced his campaign, like, ending, and that's it. We could have just made fun of him on Twitter, and that's it. But instead, like, he went after my boy JB. All JB did was make a fucking video on him, right? So JB's talking about him, and he puts out this tweet. Curious, is my rejection money from a Nazi collector billionaires make my exit or stage left? And what about taking my campaign from net negative cash and 4 polls to 100K cash and 9%? What nefarious motives are there? LOL.
And your paycheck, asshole. The fact that you left after a month. Like, what do you mean?
Sorry. Just to, if I may, I'd just like to answer the question that was posted up there real quick. People care about Peter Dow because every single alternative to voting for a duopoly candidate one way or another, he's there. And that's why people care, because he always shows up whenever there's like, oh yeah, Cornell West, or oh yeah, Marianne Williamson. He always shows up. He always shows up as an alternative to like the status quo.
I mean, to the point where JB even apologized.
You know, the Dow couple, Peter and Leela, had a coordinated attack on JB because all he made was a fucking video. He didn't even tag him in it or anything. They both all because he's not even part of the campaign anymore. Just go live your life. But he's going after.
Yeah, I know. Just disappear. Just disappear.
He's sitting here having a fucking meltdown over Twitter. But why?
And because he's just that unhealthy.
It's the hubris. It's the narcissism that comes from having Hillary in your freaking resume and having John Kerry in your resume.
Yeah, narcissism by proxy. He got corrupted by the Lich.
Exactly.
He did not do support for Biden though. Okay, do you want to make a bet with me? How much do you want to bet by the time that let's make a bet. I will make a bet with this person right now. How much do you want to bet that by the time the election actually comes around, he will be telling people to vote for Joe Biden? Do you want to make that bet with me right now?
Okay.
I think that's pretty obvious, but
you think Peter Dow's going to do that?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I do. I fucking do.
How much do you want? How much money do you want?
At least $3. No, that's
the point is that he's part of the political blob. He's I don't know what the word I was looking for. He's just like wherever there's candidates taking place, he's part of it. So part of the critique is like Dow shouldn't be in politics, not only because he's like a bad actor that's just trying to usher people into like voting for establishment politics, but he's also bad at his job. You know, he's also just an obvious grifter. So I think like maybe we should have a little bit more awareness about who these handlers are, you know?
And it's also
this guy keeps coming. This guy keeps coming up, right?
JB made a apology video on it, which I thought was really unnecessary and kind of like giving into, you know, shit that
he's letting Dow win. Yeah. He's like,
I would have doubled down and made a video calling them names. I don't give a shit. I would have been meaner.
Yeah, but he just went out guns blazing. Your left wing, in the sense of prominent black scholar, makes his own decisions on his campaign.
And now, that's like a weird. that's like subtle racism, isn't it? He's like, oh, a black man can't make decisions for himself. Like all of a sudden I don't want to do my job, so I'm going to say that like a black man can make decisions for himself. It's just so petty. So obvious. I don't know.
It's a manipulation tactic. He's like, I'm going to try and corner you with some kind of like thing that paints you as the bad guy because I don't want to talk about the actual issue.
And I would say to this point, it doesn't matter until like 2027, 2026 when freaking he comes back out of the woodwork and is like, oh yeah, I'm gonna run somebody else's campaign into the ground. You know, it's like he'll be back. So, you know, in that regard, I think
this is just this segment is simply just a short analysis of, hey, look, we were right again about this guy.
But he will be pucking his head back.
5 months ago in April and listened. No one cared about that fucking that speech that was littered with like imperialist humanitarian fucking neoliberal speech,
warmongering CIA.
And no one listened. No one listened. So here we go.
I remember too. I remember all those motherfuckers. I remember all those motherfuckers who were like, to be fair, Sweaty, Peter Dow has like a lot of experience managing campaigns. That's the thing. Stupid shit when it came to Cornell because they had a Cornell boner, and that's fine. I get it. I get the desperation, but like everybody was just like, no, Peter Dow's like really based. Actually, you should check your like, fuck.
And Jimmy's right.
And then this happens again.
You can't even vote for him anymore. So what's the point?
Of course, because that was always the plan. This is the play. It's always been the play.
That's the thing. So okay. So it's beyond incompetence, and Peter Dow is a bad actor, is what you're saying. Like you think he actually went into Cornel West's campaign to actively disrupt his campaign and fuck it up?
Yeah. Okay. I'll double down on it actually. Because like why
That's
else?
wild.
Like what else? Like
he's
what
a
else is
grifter.
happening?
Because he's a
here?
grifter.
Like okay. Like if I worked at I'll make an example to try and hit this home a little further. I'm not reading the chat anymore because it's icky. But let's say I worked at Burger King. And I was so bad at flipping burgers that the Burger King burned to the fucking ground. Right? I am now applying to work at McDonald's, and they're aware that I burned a Burger King to the ground because I'm that bad at flipping burgers. McDonald's then hires me, and I burn the McDonald's to the ground.
And they're like, what happened?
This doesn't work in any other fucking scenario than this magical Peter Dow shit that people are talking about. Like, who looks at his work and goes, yeah, you know what? Like, that's a really solid decision. This is going to take us far. No. This is, no, I'm sorry.
I mean, it's just, I guess it's just tired of being, and it's like, he's just a staple in American politics and he just needs to go. So, I will call it that he'll poke his head out in fucking 2027, ready to run somebody else's campaign for a month and a half, and then be sick again. The same thing's going to happen. I'm calling it like 3 years, 4 years from now, the same thing will happen.
I'm just trying to say, what is he trying to say? He said, so like,
he's just trying to shirk.
Money, got him to the polls, and then he said his left is gatekeeping. And their only real beef is that I attacked Bernie in 2016. And guess what? I was sadly right about Bernie being part of the establishment.
Yeah, I think that's...
he's trying to say that he attacked Bernie from the left.
I don't know about all that. He attacked her from freaking the Hillary camp. That's not from the left. Like, come on.
Yeah.
Especially for a so-called anarchist.
I know, right? Whatever that means for him. But yeah, he'll be back, and unfortunately, part of our political system involves Dow. So we'll be ready to freaking...
No. Part of Chad's right. He's gone for a little. He's going to hide in the shadows for a little bit He's going to be.
Yeah, I mean, he got almost 20K between Marianne and freaking Cornell West.
He duped all of them. Everyone who gave money to the Cornell West campaign, he duped them all. They're not getting their money back. So,
I mean, they're still. I mean, his campaign's still going. He's still making money in that campaign. I could have kept that up, but that's right. But he's got some money in his coffers.
All right, you want to set up this October 7th story, and then I have to go to the bathroom real quick.
I actually have to as well. Should we?
Cool.
Okay,
no, let me pull this up. So so to pivot, because enough we beat this electoralism story to death, and none of us really like electoralism in it that much, but we just like bring that stuff up because some of this stuff's important. But let me see. Let me pull up the Grayzone article. Where are you? October 7th. Okay, so pull this up. So some of you may know in the chat that Grayzone recently came out with this article a few days ago, kind of drawing some lines between what really happened on October 7th, because there's been let me pull this up. So as you guys know, on October 7th was when Hamas started their attack into outside of Gaza and into the Gaza envelope and into the kibbutzes around the area. And since then, it's been in everybody's freaking face that it's like, oh, we're just supposed to assume that like the Hamas massacre happened, and that's where all the like you need to condemn Hamas came from, kind of stemmed from this idea that there was tons of like tons of bloodshed, and a lot of innocent people were killed on October 7th, and we're just supposed to assume that, and that's where a lot of this narrative of like we have to categorically condemn Hamas, we have to come down on them, and a lot of it stemmed from October 7th, and this whole idea kind of just metastasized on its own, and most people just accept that there was a terrible massacre on October 7th without really asking too many questions. Everybody from all sides accepts that.
But that's what we were told.
That's what we were told.
From the jump, we were told.
Mm-hmm.
We were told, like, there's a horrible massacre. Look what they did. I can't believe. And then we find out 3 weeks later that they killed each other.
Mm-hmm.
Israel actually has like a civil war going on, like pretty much right now.
It basically is like that because they got. I mean, is it really I don't like the police are not a class.
It really is like that.
The IDF
really is like that.
IDF isn't a class, so it's like you can't really say that that there's a civil war going on. It's just the state freaking shooting their own people. But what's interesting about this? What's interesting about this article, and we'll get into it, is that before we start getting into it, one thing that's to notice is that as I was like researching this article and going into the links and looking up stuff, is that the Israeli state, the propaganda machine, the Hasbara machine, with the quickness, was doing ninja edits on a lot of these sources.
Max Blumenthal on like a tap.
Yeah, so
100%.
I think it's fair to say that, as soon as Max Blumenthal publishes an article, if he's not screenshotting and archiving his sources, that they're going to memory hole his shit. And as that stuff comes up, I'll make a note of that. But just to go into this article, it really shows that a lot of the events that took place on October 7th, people were dying at the hands of Israeli soldiers and through Merkava tanks and Apache helicopters and Hellfire missiles. So we can kind of go into that a little bit. So what should I do? Should I pull up the... I want to get into some...
You want me to scroll down? You have the article up. Do you want to scroll down this article a little bit?
Well, I was going to pull up some of the... Huh?
The testimonies themselves are incredible. I mean...
Yeah, so I wanted to... I guess I can scroll this article a little bit. I got to get this on a different screen. Give me 1 second here. All right. So what I want to do is I'm actually going to show some of the sources that we got for this stuff. I'll leave this... I'll come back to this. But I want to get into some of these sources here. So let me see. The first one is going to be... Give me 1 second here. So where's this Haaretz article? Is it this guy? Yeah. Sorry. Give me 1 second here, guys.
Tuval Escapa. the member of the security team of the kibbutz.
Do you have it?
No, I'm just reading the quote from the article.
All right, sorry. Give me 1 second here.
That's from the Hertz newspaper.
Oh, if you're pulling it up, share your screen.
Yeah, right here. So, this is the very first testimony. Yuval Skapa, a member of the security team for kibbutz, sent a hotline to the coordinator to kibbutz residents in the Israeli army. He then told the Israeli, this is Hartz. So Hartz, this is an Israeli newspaper. They're just straight up telling themselves.
It's basically like Hasbara, as far as I know, right? Haaretz is like the pretty mainstream.
That's like the Times of Israel. That's basically the same. They're straight up, straight up Hasbara.
Yeah, it's like the equivalent of like New York Times.
It's a propaganda arm of the Israeli government.
Yeah.
This is from their own mouths. They're saying the commanders in the field made difficult decisions, including shelling houses on their occupants in order to eliminate the terrorists along with the hostages.
Yeah, so they just outright say it. So it's key to know that, as we go more into it, they kind of try and edit and reframe this stuff, and they try and make it sound like, well, we had to. It's just crazy how they make it sound like it goes back to like the human shields thing where they say, oh, like Hamas was using human shields. No, you turned them into human shields because you were just shooting your own people. Like, and
also, where else do they live? They're trapped in a cage. Where else is Hamas supposed to be?
Huh?
Where else is Hamas supposed to be besides? Clearly, Hamas is not in the West Bank. They're bombing the West Bank. So there's no question at this point that we're talking about or genocidal. Like,
I mean, these kibbutzes, the articles that are in the Grayzone article, Be'eri and Ashkelon, it's the stuff that's like just north of Gaza, like the ones that were happening like right in the beginning. But a lot of the stuff that they talk about, so that was that's the Haaretz, and then there was. Should I show one of the edits?
Yeah. So you're saying that they memory hold like a lot of they did a lot of like ninja edits here in order to cover like at least some wording. They tried to like.
So one of the things that they did in this article that I noticed was that from Grayzone, one of the things they said was like the price was terrible, and then in the new edit that they came out with. They changed from the price was terrible that the cost of the Hamas attack was terrible. So like they keep trying to put out this propaganda where they're changing it from being like basically like the Israel was like mowing down everything in sight and trying to turn it into, well, Hamas did it. So just really bizarre framing.
Of this, it's in Hearts, and it's failures leading. It's this article here, the failures leading up to the Hamas. So do you have the archive of this? So pull up the archive one. Show that line that they changed.
All right, hold on a second.
Because this we could show in the article here now. Let's see.
Yeah, let me pull it up. Give me 1 second. I use I use two different browsers because one of my browsers doesn't have auto translate on it. All right, so 1 second here. There's that. That's the OG, and it's not translating. That's awesome. Okay,
Did they even say the price? Wait.
Yes,
this is okay. So this is what they changed it to.
You found it?
Yeah. So in the original article, I can't. So you have the archive pulled up to the original article to show the proof. But I mean, this is what Max is citing here. The price was terrible. At least 112 Be'eri residents were killed. They had changed this right after this article came out to the cost of the Hamas attack was terrible.
Yeah, I got it pulled up. Hold on 1 second here. I think it's this guy. Nope.
Which I don't know, like how you want to think, because like that does seem like a deliberate framing in order to make it seem like Israel was not at all involved.
Yeah. So I have the other one here. Hold on 1 second. So I'll pull this up. You wanted the original one, right?
Yeah. So show that the price is terrible. That they actually had that there. that
right.
Max is quoting correct. That Max is not just to show that.
Yeah,
Max
he's not making stuff up. Yeah, because I was like
This is
spending
an actual
hours
quote.
going through this. I was spending hours going through this
Control F
article.
price.
I was, but because it has to translate, it has to like.
Oh, okay. It's towards the bottom.
See, look here. The price was terrible. Can you see it?
Yeah, zoom in a little bit. Zoom in a little bit. Take a screenshot of that.
Take a screenshot. It's still here. It's
All
this
right.
is the archive. It's here.
Command Shift 4.
It's here.
Command Shift 4. And
Command
highlight
what?
it. Command Shift 4 and then highlight it.
Yeah, that's not working.
Oh, it's not working. Okay. Never mind.
I can take a screenshot of it though.
Okay. All right. But we got it across. It's they're ninja editing this shit in real time. That means they got Max on lock.
I definitely I'm glad that you had me point that out because it's like it's very easy to be like looking at the article, and I'll get more into it in a little bit here, where it's like, damn, there's a lot of quotes here that are just like unable to find in the article that Max wrote. Now you could think like if you don't know the Grayzone and like maybe you just came across the article, it'd be really easy for you to be like, wait, none of these articles are in the art. None of these quotes are in the article. Like, oh, this guy's like just writing.
You know why they also do that is because well, first of all, SEO, they're familiar with like search engine like terminology. If someone goes to go copy and paste that quote into Google, they're not going to find it anymore because it's memory hold. So now if they ever want to cross site, I mean, of course he has it linked here. But I'm thinking Max should start archiving and like because now they can deliberately change their wording and make it seem like Max is not quoting the correct thing.
And that's like a concern that I would have. Like, what's stopping Haaretz or any of these freaking Hasbara machines of putting out an article that says, oh, Grayzone doofus Max Blumenthal put out a fake article. And they use the quotes that he used in the article that have since been memory hold. They're like, oh, he's saying bullshit.
Yeah.
So that's kind of the concern that I have because I saw like all these different articles just that like multiple revisions, and like I was gonna show some, like I was trying to go through some of them, and it's like the Wayback Machine was doing some really weird stuff where it wasn't even that the Wayback Machine wasn't returning any results; it was just 404ing and saying couldn't load the page. Which is very bizarre.
Do you know how many snapshots there were?
Dude, one of them. Okay, so
it's only been 3 weeks. Like, so a snapshot is like how many times the site has like actually like the cache has actually like changed. So like something was actually.
I've seen like some of these articles had. It looks like the snapshots. Like I was trying to use snapshots from like the first one that they put out, but I could see that there was like multiple revisions. Like people have been taking 6 or 7 different snapshots of them.
That's a lot of edits.
I mean, I don't know if that was how many edits there were, but I could see that between the week. Oh, each snapshot is a different edit. It's not just when somebody decided on it.
So like a snapshot, like because I worked in like SEO for a little bit. Like a snapshot is like whenever like Google like it crawls your website. Like they have like little like bots that like crawl your website,
right?
And they'll crawl your website. Like it's like for cookies and stuff like that. So like it'll whenever something on the front end is like actually changed or published on a website. Google is going to crawl it, and it's going to take a screenshot of that web page, and it's basically saved in the archive forever. And that's also why you can also like reload. Like I know like some things like I know WordPress does it, and I know a couple other like website builders do it. But you can like restore your website back to like an earlier previous state. Like that's how the websites operate. They operate in like states. They don't operate in like live times. Like it's like this is like the current model or current state of like this web page.
I mean, I can show you really quick. Let me go on to Wayback, and I'll show you.
Yeah, I mean, if you want, I could read more of this article. I'm not sure how much.
In that article, it was just I just wanted to show that one point really quick where you kind of showed it with the commanders were talking about how they were shelling and shooting and stuff. But look, it's just loading right now. It's not even Like maybe the Wayback is just down right now. I don't know. You know,
curious.
That's obviously not working. So
very curious.
As it starts loading right now. Hold on a second. So look. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10.
The red should be snapshots, I'm pretty sure.
All right.
That's
well, as you can see,
see,
multiple edits since it came out on the 20th. That's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 edits in 1 week. Okay, so that's wild. That's some hardcore.
Scrambling. That's what scrambling looks like. It looks like scrambling.
What do you mean by scrambling?
Like you know, like we go where our ass is on fire now. Like now we have to.
Yeah, it does sort of look like that, doesn't it? Where like people were starting to get the material and starting to come out with their own articles, and so they started changing the narrative as it was going through. So you know what reminds
me of? That's what Hezbollah is. They change the narrative in real time. That's crazy, what happened to the hospital bombing. Remember?
Mm-hmm.
You know what it reminds me of? Do you guys remember when Dr. Redacted went on Joe Rogan and he mentioned the mass formation psychosis thing? I remember Google at that time. When you Googled mass formation psychosis, it brought up a thing that was like, looks like the results for this are changing very quickly.
Mm-hmm.
It's like the website itself was like, it was like burning midnight oil to like, oh my God, like we gotta, I don't know what they were doing, but it was like,
it's like Google has that shit. It's like Google has like real time freaking agents who go in and freaking change the Google results as
they have bots that do it. They have AI that does it.
Yeah, they got AI. And unfortunately, it's terrible like the rest of AI, so it gets everything fucking wrong.
That's how my account got banned, through AI, and I'm back now. But I mean,
we're all very glad that you're back, Greg. We're all very
I'm glad that I'm back. Okay. I'm just trying to
but yeah, so you can see back in the Grayzone article. So let's go on to the next one, the next Harrods article, because you could see, or just find, the division was compelled to request an aerial strike against the base. So after I started seeing that their stuff was getting memory hold, I was going back and forth. But if you just want to like Control F, you can kind of go to the quotes that I have, because really what this article was about, and the long and short of it was that Israel sent a shitload of Apaches and to these kibbutzes and just wreaked havoc on these kibbutzes. And so a lot of it was just kind of like trying to give us a little bit more evidence into the narrative of like who was really doing all the like bloodshedding on October 7th. And it seems like there's enough to go around for both. You know, I'm not ready to say that Hamas had their hands clean, because like I've seen them freaking RPGing like cars at checkpoints. I've seen them freaking like killing people. Like I've seen that. So, but the massacre
was mostly military. It's mostly military.
I mean, that's what I'm going to say is like the massacre, obviously, like the IDF had a lot to do with it, and it's going to be one of those things that's going to be a long time before we get all the truth, if we ever do. But it seems to me that there's enough blame to be had from Israel was not trying to mitigate the situation. We'll put it that way. They weren't trying to make it any better. So yeah, if you want to, the division was compelled to request an aerial strike against the Erez crossing base itself in order to repel the terrorists. So you could see that they were ready. They were actually, getting ready to shoot down and attack anyone, not just in Gaza, but outside of Gaza. They're calling in airstrikes. These are kibbutzes. These are suburbs. These are basically small suburbs, that they're ready to freaking airstrike. That's just boggles the mind that like they would think that this stuff is okay. We could probably go to, let's see. I can probably go, let me see, Nahal. It's hard because some of these are different languages. Oh. Like, this is not stuff that is done with the freaking Hamas, fireworks. It's not stuff that's done. Like, you see pictures of the cars and they're completely burnt up. That's from Hellfire missiles. You know, that's not from freaking Hamas rockets. That's not from fucking RPGs.
And do you remember the video that V posted with there were tanks at that party, at that rave or whatever that was, for the paragliders?
There were tanks there was one of the bases, one of the military
there.
bases was right there, so it wouldn't surprise me.
Yeah. So I mean,
let's pull up. So we can probably transition.
You can see the lie right here. They're saying that Hamas terrorists blew up the Erez crossing, and they're getting literally like high command military like to destroy the Erez crossing. So it's all projection. It's literally all of it is projection.
Yes, I would say so. I mean, it's just like people don't know the kind of arms that Hamas has. They think they have the same, like they think things that go boom can take out an entire building or take out a car. It's like they have like very few things that can actually do the sort of damage that Israel can do, if anything.
They can't do anything.
Yeah, I mean they got their RPGs, but even their RPGs are homemade. I don't know how destructive they can take out tanks with them
at a time. I think they kill like maybe like 10 people at a time max. Not that much.
This is like a level 3 hunter engaging like a level 60 shaman in PvP, and they're like, yeah, these are virtually the same. No, he did win. Exactly. He did just win for crit him for 3,000 damage. That's correct. But you know that 4 damage attack, you know, that's really that did some damage too, guys.
That's a good way. That's a good way.
It is just like
in Israel situation, actually.
Yeah, it's literally just like it's like listen, if you're a gamer, everybody who's watching, if you're a gamer, we've all wandered outside of the noob zone when we shouldn't have. Everybody's fucking done this, where you're just like, wow, I died in one shot to that thing. That's fucking cool. And it's like everybody's trying
that's pretty much how it is. That's pretty much how it is.
And it's like, no, but you know what? That noob did some damage to that elite fucking demon mob.
So this Mako article, this segment they have out, this is where it starts getting difficult to be able to completely source all this stuff. And I even told Max this in a freaking DM, because I was like, I think you should know that like the stuff that you are sourcing, you can't find the direct quotes for some of this stuff anymore. He was like, oh, thanks for bringing it to my attention. So you can see the Apache pilots testified they fired huge amounts of munitions, emptied the quote-unquote belly of the helicopter in minutes, flew to rearm, and returned to the air again, but it didn't help, and they understand it. So what is that? That's from, I think it's from...
Yeah, focus on viewers streaming back into Gaza from the Nova Electronic Music Festival. This is gonna get messy.
Yeah, so you can't even see. They don't even know who they're shooting at. They're just shooting at whoever. And it even says in the article that they didn't really have. Let me see if I can find it. So, what I want to pull up.
With news outlet. One Apache pilot reflected on the torturous dilemma of whether to shoot at people or their cars returned to Gaza. He knew that many of those vehicles had contained Israeli captives, but he chose to open fire anyway. I chose targets like that. The pilots reflected. I just shot at whatever I wanted. I just fucking shot at it or whatever. So where I tell myself that the chance that I'm not shooting here on hostages as well is, it's pretty low. So, however, he admitted his judgment was not 100%. Maybe I wasn't.
Translation: a lot of innocent people died, and we didn't give a fuck. Drunk. But we need to learn that we gave a fuck.
You have to imagine.
It's the same energy as yes, Biden's doing a genocide, but you should still vote for him.
So all these quotes, by the way, are not in the the linked articles. And when I try and use Wayback, or when I try and use archive.today, it returns no results. So they or one of them have even returned, I think, like a 500 error, 404 error. I'm not sure, but it like basically there's no page. So they were working very hard to kind of reframe some of this stuff. So the quotes are still okay, but some of them, they obviously tried to make it sound less like these Apache pilots were just shooting into the breeze and shooting whatever was in sight, and making it sound like they had like a terror. They had to make the ultimate choice, and they had to take out all these Hamas monsters. So they did what they had to do, sort of thing, instead of kind of taking these direct quotes.
Squadron commander explained to Mako how he nearly attacked a home of an Israeli family occupied by Hamas militants and wound up firing next to the cannon round. Forces hadn't had time to reach this, the pilot recalled, and I've already run out of missiles there, which was more accurate weaponry. With the family inside a fortified bomb shelter, the pilot decided to shoot a cannon 30 meters from this house. A very difficult decision. I shoot so that if they're currently there, they will hear the bombs inside the house, and they understand that it is known that it is there, and with the hope they will leave the house. I am also telling you the truth. It crossed my mind that I was shooting at the house.
Oh, so this is interesting because this is the Ynet article, so I can share my screen on this really quick. Hold on a second.
Yeah. Ultimately, the Israeli helicopter pilots blamed clever Hamas tactics for their inability to distinguish between armed militants and Israeli non-combatants. The Hamas army, it turns out, deliberately made it difficult for the helicopter pilots and the operators of the UAVs.
So let's see. Hamas deception to IDF. Yeah, let me pull this up really quick.
I do find it kind of curious that it's like they can just say Hamas and they can kill however many people as they like because they can just say Hamas and that's it, and that's the end.
That's what it is. It's like Orange Man, but like it's their version of Orange Man. It's like
their version of Orange Man.
It's instead of Trump, it's Hamas. That's what it is. That's what it is. That's the tactic.
You got my screen up?
Yeah.
Okay, cool. So let me show you this really quick. So this is a little different, and we might go back and forth between the Grayzone article because it's a little different than what he wrote. But I just want to take this from the article because it's still, even though that they freaking ninja edited this article and I don't have the exact words, they still say some freaking crazy shit. So the first pair of helicopters on immediate alert to the Gaza division came to wrap around about an hour or more after the events began, around 7:30 from the David Level camp on the north. This is even though the mother squadrons of the Apache helicopters are in the Ramon camp close to the strip. Bremen quickly realized that something unusual was evolving and coming up, with the commander of 190, Lieutenant Colonel A himself, a fighter helicopter that was wrapped up at 8:32. After the pilots realized there was tremendous difficulty in distinguishing within the posts and localities occupied by a terrorist and soldier or civilian, a decision was made that the first mission of the battle helicopters and the armed forces was to stop the flood of terrorists and murderous crowds that flocked to Israeli territory through the breaches of the fence. 28 combat helicopters fired all ammunition in their stomachs throughout the day of combat. These are hundreds of 30 millimeter cannon shells, effective spray grenade. What? Oh, I didn't even see that part. So that looks like they were explosive rounds, as well as Halpier missiles. The pace of shooting in front of the thousands of terrorists, which is a lie, that's not true, was tremendous at first, and they actually say that because they're downplaying how many civilians they actually killed. And only at one point did the pilots begin to slow down the attacks and carefully select their targets. So they did a fucking massacre and just lit up these kibbutzes, and then like, oh wait, how many of our own guys did we kill? Now, this is where I think this is also a little bit different from the Grayzone article. The Hamas article, turns out, deliberately made it difficult for helicopter pilots and UAV operators. In the investigation, it became clear that the invading forces had been asked in recent briefings to walk slowly into or within localities and posts, and in no case run, to make pilots think it was Israelis. This worked for quite a while until the Apache pilots realized that all restrictions had to be skipped. It was only around 9 a.m. that some of them began to spray, everybody, not just the terrorists, with guns, with no permits from superior levels. So these people, because remember, it took so long for Israel to get its act together and put a counteroffensive, that these people who are in these choppers were getting no commit, were under no orders from higher command to do this. They were just doing it. Let me see if there's anything else here.
Yeah, and they
Yeah, here, let me read this really quick. So air operations on day one were not organized, but even in the sky, the pilots improvised solutions to the complicated and unprecedented situation. That's a nice way of saying that they just fucking lit up the entire areas. Much of the fire guidance and the goals of the forces fighting in the field reached pilots through telephone calls or sending pictures in WhatsApp. In the background, the huge number of murderers and kidnappers in the Air Force are convinced that without the assistance of the fire and the many attacks carried out by the IDS helicopters that day, the carnage would have been much greater. So this is their cope, and saying, I know that like translation's kind of messed up, so it sounds all like the wording is kind of weird. But basically what they're saying is, hey, if it wasn't for the Israeli Air Force lighting up these entire areas and setting everything on fire and exploding everything, it would have been way fucking worse. So that's their cope statement right there.
Yeah, this is a Telegram. This is a video that they post that the the Israeli South responders posted on their Telegram. They're pulling a body out of the rubble. I probably won't even play it. Well, probably won't even load. But either way, Hamas cannot fucking blow up. That you need an explosive, powerful blast in order to blow up a house.
Oh man, so. I was watching more Norm Finkelstein last night, and he was doing a lecture, and one of the things he said was that during one of these operations in the past, the Hamas launched 4,000 missiles. 4,000. That's what IDS said. Launched 4,000 rockets, not missiles, rockets. Okay, did only $15 million of damage and only destroyed one building. Okay, does that sound like an effective, rocket arsenal? No, it sounds like freaking fireworks. So there's no way that they could do this stuff.
I'm just listen. I'm just saying, like, this wouldn't fly in a fucking Counter-Strike lobby. That's all I'm saying.
You'd be kicked.
We all know that guy. We all know that guy, right? We all know the guy. Blows up the whole team.
PKing, yeah, like.
Yeah. Blows up the whole team, and he's like, you know what? There was an orange man behind you.
You jest, but like it really feels like that's what it was like, where these 28 Apache helicopters, okay, like that's a fucking shitload. Okay, like I don't know how much those things cost, but like, can you imagine being in your little fucking suburb and you see, a dozen, 15 freaking Apache helicopters just start lighting up your freaking suburb? Like that's what happened. That's what happened.
It's like you hire an exterminator and he just levels the whole.
He's like, yeah, my boss is out sick today. He just told me to do whatever.
He levels the whole street and he levels the whole street and he's like,
water supply. He just destroys your house.
Pretty sure I got the bed.
It's like I got it though, right? The bed bugs.
No more ants. No more ants.
No, bed bugs are gone for sure.
I do want to highlight one of these. This is Yasmin Porat, who's a hostage.
This was a good. Yeah, this is legit. But this didn't come from mainstream media. This was Aliou Benima at Electronic Intifada, who was doing great work and came across this interview. So this didn't get memory hold because it's one of the good guys who freaking came out with this direct source.
Yeah.
You can even play.
Revived.
The clip can be in the. If you want, you can even play some of their article, and I can read it off if you want, or play some of the video. I think might be higher up. The Aliou Benima, it's the YouTube video. If not, I can pull it up.
All right.
I was just gonna say it was. Let's see. Yeah, I was just gonna read a little bit of it. I can pull it up though. Give me a second here. Let's see, where are you? Give me 1 second here. Oh, I guess it's way at the bottom. All right. Or wait, I thought it was here. Is it not here anymore? That's strange. Sorry about that. I thought the electronic and Intifada thing was already here. All right. So we'll pull this up. Okay. Or do you want to pull it up because it's a video? Here, I'll just give it to you in private chat. Let's see. Oh, did Greg?
The Fed's got Greg.
It's got Greg. All right, well, I'll pull this up.
Got him again.
No, I'm here.
All right. Do you want to pull up the electronic intifada? I know we covered this a little bit last week, but we can cover it again because it's relevant. Just start the video in there from let's see, 145. But this was one of the really good reports because this lady, she was like, yeah, they didn't hurt me at all. Like, we were hearing gunfire from everybody else. Do you want to pull up the actual YouTube? It should be within that article.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's that. And just started around 145. Or is our internet going to be crazy tonight?
Just find it out.
Of course. Can you start it? Just let it load a little bit more.
Give me 1 second.
Word. Let me see. Maybe I'll see if I can.
Oh my god, this is base.
Huh?
Hold on, I gotta post this. Oh my god. You know what sucks about having to use a Mac computer for work? I'm mixing up control.
Who does that? Who does that?
My company apparently, but like I'm fucking up control and alt because like on the Mac computer, like where control's supposed to be is like alt and it's like in reverse. So I'm like trying to control V some shit and I'm like pressing alt. This is
I know what you mean. Yeah, it's backwards.
Yeah, this is basically fascism.
Okay, so I'm gonna pull this up, see if I can get this working for a little bit. All right, so it's that. We'll go to about. Can you see? And we felt an indescribable fear, and after an hour, they managed to break in, and they removed the 4 of us to a nearby house, where there were already 8 additional other hostages. We joined those 8, and we were about 12 hostages with 40 terrorists. Not thousands that are guarding us.
הם מתעללים בכם? או ש...
They abuse you? They do not abuse us. They treat us very humanely.
אנושית?
Humanely? Really? Yes, by that I mean they guard us.
הם נותנים לנו לשתות פה ושם, כשהם רואים שאנחנו בלחץ, הם מרגיעים אותנו. הייתה תחושה מאוד מאוד מפחידה, אבל אף אחד לא התנהג אלינו באלימות. למזלי, לא קרה לי את מה שאני שומעת אבל אחרי שעתיים, בקיצור, בהתחלה לא היה שום גורם ביטחוני איתנו, אנחנו אלה שהתקשרנו במשטרה יחד עם החוטפים, כי החוטפים רצו שהמשטרה תגיע, כי המטרה שלהם הייתה לחטוף אותנו לא לרצוח אותנו. ואחרי
And after they were there about 2 hours, with the abductors, the police arrived. A gun battle takes place that our police started. A very, very difficult gun battle. The amount of ammunition that flew there. And at the end, no, during the battle, one of the terrorists decides to surrender. The terrorist I made a connection with over the course of these 2 hours, I connected with some of the abductors, those that guarded the hostages. And he decided to use me as a human shield. He decides to surrender. I am not aware in those moments. It's in retrospect. He starts to disrobe. He takes. He calls to me and he starts to leave the house with me and fire. And at that time, I yell at the Israeli fighters when they can hear me to stop firing. And then they hear me and stop firing. I see people from the kibbutz on the lawn. There are 5 or 6 hostages lying on the ground outside. Just like sheep to slaughter in the face of shooting by our fighters and the terrorists.
הטרוריסטים ירו בהם?
The terrorists shot them?
הם נהרגו מהחילופי ירי, אתה יודע שהחילופי ירי מאוד מאוד קשים.
So our forces undoubtedly
חיסלו את כולם, כולל הבני ערובה, כי היה שם חילופי ירי מאוד מאוד קשים. אני משוחררת בסביבות השעה 5:30, ב8:30 כנראה מסתיימת הלחימה.
It reminds me of that fucking scene in Fallout 2. I'm dating myself, but you know what? I'm 38 now. I have to just be the rambling old man. It reminds me of that scene in Fallout 2 where you encounter Frank Corrigan and he just mows down those like innocent fucking just an innocent family, and he's like, "This is none of your concern. Turn away.
Don't worry about it." Well, I mean, she's describing like, think about what happens. So you got these helicopters, you got these tanks, you got these freaking all this stuff, and they just lay everything to waste. It's not even that they were trying to save their own people. Like, imagine walking out of your house and you see a bunch of it's because the police who are supposed to protect you decided to kill them as well as Hamas. Like that's what it sounds like she's trying to do. So yeah, I thought that was pretty good source right there.
To be fair, it would have been those kibbutzes would have been way worse if they weren't vaccinated.
Oh my god, that's awful.
Yeah, but it was good that it was. Do you want to show the video?
Which one?
The propaganda info one.
Oh, the ones with the ladies, like the Hamas videos.
No. The propaganda info came out. Did you see this or no?
I don't know. Play it, maybe.
Israeli soldier conducts an interview in front of a destroyed home of a kibbutz. He says Hamas fighters burned babies and then beheaded them, but this is all a lie, and I'm going to prove it to you using Israeli media. Yes, that is right, Israeli media. But first, let's ask an important question. How did the concrete walls of this home behind the soldier turn into rubble? Fires burn wood and other flammable items. They do not collapse concrete structures like this.
Children in the same room, then someone come and kills them all. 15 girls and teenagers that put in the same room, 3 hand grenades, and it's over. This is a massacre.
Now the Israelis want you to believe that Hamas fighters did this, but we know that they were only armed with machine guns and small grenade launchers. That doesn't cause this level of damage. So then how did they destroy concrete homes like this?
Hold up.
Pause
for a second.
They did
Pause for 1 second. Really, guys? We're doing the jet fuel steel beam shit? We're going there too? Really?
No, we're back in 2003. We're back.
Oh my!
I mean, but that's
God,
really
my brain
really
just
like
put that together.
I mean, that's what one of the things that they noticed with the cars is that the cars are like completely incinerated, well beyond anything that any of the arsenal that Hamas could have had. That was like one of the tells.
Wow, we're doing the Building 7 shit again in 2023. Okay. Good stuff. 20 years. Fucking progress.
What? That is shocking. But why? And how would the Israelis do that? Well, Israeli media has all the answers. They interviewed the IDF soldiers who responded to the Hamas attack, and they learned something shocking. The IDF was struggling to handle the Hamas fighters. Tuval Eskapa, or however you pronounce his name, a member of the security team for Kibbutz Be'eri, set up a hotline to coordinate between kibbutz residents and the Israeli army. He told the Israeli newspaper Haaretz that as desperation began to set in, the commanders in the field made difficult decisions, including shelling houses on their occupants in order to eliminate the terrorists along with the hostages. These reports indicate that orders came down from the military's high command to attack homes and other areas inside Israel, even at the cost of many Israeli lives. According to Haaretz, the army was only able to restore control over Be'eri after admittedly shelling the homes of Israelis who had been taken captive. The price was terrible. At least 112 residents were killed, according to the paper. Others were kidnapped. Now, much of the shelling in Be'eri was carried out by Israeli tank crews, as a reporter for the Israeli Foreign Ministry-sponsored outlet I-24 noted during a visit to Be'eri.
Small and quaint homes bombarded or destroyed. Children's toys lying around well-maintained lawns of grass ripped up by the tracks of an armored vehicle. Perhaps a tank. Perhaps a tale.
Perhaps.
In other words, the IDF, in an act of desperation, decided to just kill everyone, including hostages. This is their words, not mine. In fact, Yasmin Porat, an attendee of the Nova Music Festival, who fled into the kibbutz, told Israeli radio that when Israeli special forces arrived during a hostage standoff, they, quote, eliminated everyone, including the hostages, because there was very, very heavy crossfire.
חיסלו את כולם, כולל הבני ערובה, כי היה שם חילופי ירי מאוד מאוד קשים, חילופי אש מטורפים, אפילו שני פקדים של טנק שירו לתוך הבית, שזה בית קיבוצי קטן, זה לא איזה, רואים את זה בחדשות.
She goes on to describe how Hamas militants tied her partner's hands behind his back. She saw her partner lying on the ground, still alive. She went on to say that Israeli security forces killed him and other hostages as they opened fire on the remaining militants inside, including with tank shells.
ובן הזוג שלך שהיה איתה? נהרג. הוא גם נהרג. כן, כולם נהרגו שם.
This is why you see large bits of shrapnel and bullet holes in the walls of destroyed kibbutz homes. It's why you see homes turn into rubble. And sadly, it's why you find severely burnt bodies of Israeli hostages. But there's more. The IDF also used Apache attack helicopters. In an interview with Israeli media outlet Mako, an Apache pilot admitted that many of the cars he fired rockets at contained hostages. But wait, there's even more. Israeli security forces also opened fire on fleeing Israelis whom they mistook for Hamas gunmen. A resident of Ashkelon named Danielle Rachel described nearly being killed after escaping from the Nova Music Festival when it was attacked by militants. As we reached the roundabout at a kibbutz, we saw Israeli security forces, she recalled. We held our heads down because we automatically knew they'd be suspicious of a small beat-up car from the same direction the terrorists were coming. Our forces began shooting at us. Lastly, let's discuss how an IDF commander ordered an airstrike on his own position. The very first target the Palestinian fighters attacked was the Erez checkpoint. The attack was so fierce that the IDF commander, Avi Rosenfeld, in an act of desperation, he called for an airstrike on his own position. The IDF bombed their own base in order to kill the Palestinian militants. So what should we take from all this? Do we absolve Hamas of their act?
They said that was Hamas that did that. It's pure projection.
It's unbelievable.
October 7th.
Unbelievable.
None of this would have happened had they not attacked. Now, whether or not they have the right to resist occupation and apartheid with the use of force is a topic for another video. But the point of this
they are.
UN
says they are.
The IDF's poor response and performance led to the deaths of their own people. As several Israeli hostages have already made clear, the Palestinian militants were kind to them despite the aggression. And as the Nova survivor Yasmin Porat put it, she believes the militants didn't want to kill them. She believes their goal was to take them back to Gaza as hostages. The entire point of the attack seems to be the capturing of Israelis as hostages in order to trade them for thousands of Palestinian political prisoners. And in the chaos that ensued, many people lost their lives. Now, some people say, who cares how it went down? People died. Babies died. Is that not awful? Well, of course it is. But the reason we have to cut through Israeli propaganda is because it's being used to justify acts of genocide in Gaza. Israelis believe deep down to their core that their babies were beheaded and that their women were raped and tortured before being killed. And this simply isn't true. And even with Israeli media reporting the facts, they may never change their minds.
Well, you know, they're actively changing media, and on top of that, everything that they can possibly be blamed for is getting
They're just trying to rewrite history nonstop, but it's catching up with them.
Hasbara works in real time. That's what the whole point is. But
do you want to? What's that? I'm hearing do you hear that? Like a roll, it sounds like a mouse wheel or something?
Yeah, I was hearing that the whole time.
I don't know if that's, I don't know what that is. I don't know. That sounds crazy. Hold on a second.
Is that you or
I don't think it's me. But
can't be me. I've never done anything wrong in my life.
I mean, I just muted my mic, so that should have fixed it. But let's see this. Anyway, do you want to play the other videos with the two people who were interviewed, and that one lady who was interviewed and was like, "Yeah, I was treated fine." The other one who was like, the other one who gives a handshake to freaking Hamas. Because I think those are some of the most powerful videos of the whole thing. Those are the kind of thing that's going to make sure that people aren't completely sucked into the whole Hasbara thing. Is these actual hostages completely like ruining their freaking plan for propagandizing everybody? That's kind of how I see it. So let me see where. I think they're in the Grayzone article. I guess I can pull it up.
Oh wait, is it my fan?
Oh, are you saying it's you now?
No, I've never done anything wrong, but sorry, I'm just cosplaying as Israel.
There they walked for a few kilometers on the west front. Are a huge network of tunnels underneath. It looks like a spider web. My mom is saying that they were very friendly towards them.
Give it up.
And that they
Shalom.
took care of them. They were given medicine and they were treated. One of the men with them had a badly injured from a motorbike accident on the way. And the paramedic was looking after his wounds. He was given medicine and antibiotics. That the people were friendly, that they kept the place very clean, they were very concerned about them.
What a PR disaster!
Oh, I mean, it is for Israel, it would be, but that's like Hamas will freaking put that in their archives. They'll keep that forever. Like that, and that's the other thing is that you would think that part of Hamas's strategy would be to deliberately avoid as much civilian bloodshed as possible. A, because we know that they want hostages to free their Palestinian prisoners, but also because it'd be a fucking nightmare. Like they're doing Israel's own bidding by doing exactly what they're gonna lie about anyway. You know, if they go out and shoot up all the civilians and kill everybody, they're making it way easier for IDF. You know, they're not really selling their case. So I would think purely from that perspective, they would be less likely to just be like in crazed, bloodthirsty states of just trying to kill everybody.
Yeah.
You know, they're not really helping their agenda. You know, we knew we knew that like before this, the prisoner exchange thing was always part of their plan. That's what they've done in the past. You know, there was that one time, I think was in 2012 or so, they had one exchange that was like one IDF prisoner for over 1,000 Palestinians. So they know that like these prisoners are like gold to them. They're worth much more to them as alive than dead. Let's see.
Yeah. So so you wanna? Are you cool wrapping up here?
Yeah, I mean we can wrap it up here if we got some more stuff.
Yeah. We had one more story I was gonna do. I was gonna do something on Christian Zionism. Maybe do a video on it instead.
I'm still down.
I just had something at the last minute I got to take care of, but yeah. So
the feds are knocking at his door right now.
Yeah, the feds are not.
They finally found him.
Yeah, they got him. But
yeah, that's fine. We can pick it.
Vosh is personally outside his house right now.
Oh my god.
Yeah, he's coming. He's coming, and you know, unfortunately, I'm not of age, so you know, I'm past that, so I'm good. I don't know what else he's gonna do. That's scary. Thanks to everyone who supports us in any way that you can. Patreon, YouTube, Substack. We just got censored for a week for not condemning Hamas, I guess.
But I mean, you literally had the article say condemn Hamas, no. So I think it literally was that.
I mean, to be fair, like after COVID, I expect it. It's like, oh, you're saying a thing that's not the current thing? Well, time to go in the bad boy chamber. Sorry, bad boy chamber. That was weird.
We know the days are numbered on YouTube. And I think we've been putting more content. We're trying to put more content on Rumble these days as well.
Rumble. I'm not gonna lie. I can say whatever.
You know, I think we haven't fully fleshed it out yet, but probably down the line YouTube is the days of being on YouTube are numbered for just about everybody with an independent opinion.
Well, it's gonna get to a point where it's just like YouTube. You know how like we all reached a point where we checked out of like mainstream corporate press and we just started like checking out like alternatives. I feel like that's gonna be YouTube. Like they'll go to YouTube if you want like some lib slop or some chud slop. But if it's like anybody outside of the propaganda apparatus, they'll basically realize that YouTube's it's going to get to the point where it's just propaganda.
It's the same thing. Yeah.
They'll even push out like the big accounts eventually. You know, Jimmy will get a spanking, and you know,
I mean, you see, Jimmy Dore now is already kind of. I know that he does a lot of exclusive content on Rumble already.
Well, yeah, and some of the content creators are smart because they'll be like, oh, here's our YouTube content, and now for the spicy stuff that we can't talk about, go over to Rumble, and so you can see this.
Well, that's what they were doing in the beginning. Like, remember before Kim got her own show on YouTube, or on Rumble, that's what she used to do on YouTube. She's like, okay, guys, like I've done my show on YouTube for the last 30 minutes. If you want all the cool COVID stuff, you have to hop over to Rumble. That was like a thing for, I don't know. I feel like that was like a thing for a year, almost a year, where like people were trying to transition from YouTube to Rumble because they saw that it was just impossible to have a unique opinion on YouTube. And this was like, what, 3 years ago, 2 years ago? Jeez, no. How long has it been since COVID started? Like 2020. It's already been so fucking long.
It feels like 28 fucking years. Those 3 years were at least a decade, at least emotionally and possibly spiritually as well, depending on what you believe. But yeah, and to everybody who thinks Rumble's a right-wing platform, we have been doing nothing but shitting on Israel. For 2 weeks now, and it's nothing. They're like, yeah, do it, go for it.
I mean, at the end of the day, Rumble wants people to go on their platform. I don't think they're too concerned at the moment about. I mean, maybe they are, but I see all sorts of crazy shit on Rumble. It's not like
the war, though. They're not really.
Huh?
They're sort of in the propaganda war too.
Who?
The IDF. A little bit, at least this time.
Yeah, it's here's the thing, and this is like, I'm seeing this across the board for many different current things or whatever. You just need to get some new fucking tactics. Everybody's just like, oh yes, I remember this. This is a rerun. This is like, they're looking at like you just remade a fucking N64 game, for Christ's sake. It's like, oh yeah, I remember. Okay, yeah, bunker. I remember this level. Pick odd job, you know. Like it's too on the nose. There's so many similarities with like, oh well, you don't want the terrorists to win. It's like everybody who's watching that remembers when you fuckers tried this the first time, and we're all still burned from that because that was a load of shit the whole way through. And so forgive us if we're not going to just fall for the exact same
They're
garbage.
definitely, dude, there's going to be a day where they're going to do kind of on a lesser scale to what they did with Gaza with like taking out the internet and stuff. There's going to be these like huge crises and they're just going to disable everybody's like data and be like, okay, you can only make phone calls because like we want to make sure that the narrative is not tainted by live footage.
So something like that happened up here in Maple Land. But what happened was, and to anyone who thinks Canada is a communist country, I'm about to shatter your bubble a little bit. So, what happened was our main like telecommunications provider, Rogers, had like a fucking problem. I forget what the actual problem was, but because of one corporation going down, our entire country could not use debit machines, could not use the internet, not communicate in various ways. Everybody had to go out and like use cash again, which I know. How dare you? But yeah, so like First off, that's kind of evidence that Canada.
Wait, so Rogers went down and like it messed up everybody's communications out the entire country?
Yes, we're so reliant on one single privately owned corporation that it.
I knew Rogers was bad. I didn't know it was that bad.
Yeah, it basically fucked our whole country up for a whole day. Like business just went to a halt.
Everybody got a day off because one company went down.
Oh no, they figured out a way to make people work. I remember it. They're like, no, fuck you. You're pick up a landline or something. But
roaming. It's
not just that, but it's like I'm not the guy that's saying that was definitely like a test or like a beta test or like an op, but it was really weird how much shut down completely just because you like one switch fell off or like one thing didn't work properly. We couldn't function. I was sitting there all day. I was like, I can't work. I can't. Worse than not being able to work, I couldn't shit post. Like, what the hell, man? I can't.
That's funny.
I can't like shovel Marxist propaganda down people's throats. That's not okay.
I can't spread truth.
That's 80% of my personality. How dare you, Rogers? But,
I gotta get going, guys. So let me we'll close this out here. Thank you again one more time to everyone who supports us. Make sure to like the stream because apparently that boosts us in the algorithm.
It does,
especially when you're live. Apparently, if you like it and it goes while you're live, it does some stuff. I might do a video on that Christian Zionism thing. Couldn't do that one tonight, but I appreciate everyone who stuck around, came out, and decided to hang out. So
definitely appreciate all of you guys.
Love you, folks. Yep. Solidarity, and fuck YouTube.
Yeah,
have a good night, everybody.
Be sure to check out the upcoming shows we got. On
YouTube.
On Twitter, but, yeah, but